Judge Jenkins, good to see you again here.
Great to be here.
You recently filed to run for a fifth term as Dallas County Judge. What specific unfinished business do you have left?
You know, there's always unfinished business. And for instance, in our jail, we're seeing overcrowding now. In Miami and Ohio, two Republican states, you're hearing from this Democrat, they have passed the Baker Act. And the Baker Act, which is part of what they call the Miami model, has led to great reductions in jail population by getting the people with serious mental illness and drug addiction issues into diversion programs that are mandatory for them, where they can't just walk out the back door when things get tough. That has led to Miami, a place with 2.4 million people, having between 2,000 and 3,000 people in jail every day. And in Dallas County, we have nearly 7,000 people in jail every day. That costs the taxpayers a lot of money.
And to get these changes, though, you'd have to have the legislature physically make changes, right? This is not something the county can do on its own.
That's right. And so I'm inviting the chair and vice chair of the Senate and the chair and the vice chair of the House Criminal Justice Committees, where this would be heard, to come to Miami with me in April and see for themselves this great model.
How likely is it? Do you think that you could get the legislature to change? I know Travis County is interested in doing something like this as well. They're standing up one of these.
I have not found a Democrat or Republican that has seen the model that said to me that's not a good thing.
Wow.
So I think there's a good chance we can work together and get that done.
Let's zoom out here for a moment. Affordability is really becoming a huge issue for Democrats in 2026. Republicans haven't been able to arrest the inflation and the affordability crisis during the first year of President Trump's administration here. Can Democrats do that if they're elected in 2026?
You know, I think if we've got people that are focused on that issue, right now it seems that President Trump is not focused on that issue. And so when you're focused on an issue and it's your number one issue, then there's a much better chance of getting something done.
I want to ask about DART, Dallas Area Rapid Transit, mass transit here. You've seen three cities in Dallas County and then Plano in Collin County, all letting voters decide whether to stay in the transit agency or take their tax money and move on and build something else with that. Have you tried to mediate this? Because it's been a festering issue for years now, and it seems it's coming to a head again for the first time since the mid-90s.
Yeah, I did try to mediate it, and what I've suggested to both sides is that they find a mediator, or whether it's me or anybody else, who is unbiased, and you talk to one another. Because good things happen when you talk to one another. As long as they are just sending shots back and forth, not much is going to happen.
Have they taken your advice on that?
Well, not just yet, no. But they need to. There's a time in March where if they hadn't resolved this, it'll go to the voters. They can pull it back if they resolve it before then. Look, we need a more regional approach to transit. It doesn't work that some cities are in and some cities are out, because we've seen cities that are out, like Frisco, really use that money for economic development, and Plano's not able to do that because they've spent their money on DART. But at the same time, if we end up destroying the DART system, that's going to have huge ramifications on our workforce, on people getting to work. You're going to see real problems with our economy if that happens. So everybody's got to come together, sit down, talk openly, get you a mediator, and try to work something out.
That just doesn't seem likely, with the players that I'm talking to. Do you think it is?
I think it is. I think in politics, people, bluster and they push their positions. But in the end, nobody wants to be known as the elected official that destroyed DART, right? That's nothing to be to run on. If you remember, there may have been, and I'm firmly on the keep the Cowboys here side, but there may have been arguments on both sides on the Dallas Cowboys years ago.
Yeah.
But now there are still elected officials, unfortunately, who are remembered mostly for being in charge when the Cowboys left. DART's not as beloved as the Cowboys, obviously, but it is an important thing for our workforce that we must not unravel.
You mentioned jail overcrowding a moment ago here too, and I'm curious whether the jail is still close to capacity.
The jail is still close to capacity.
Well, let me ask, sorry to interrupt there, Judge, but the issue, my understanding, has always been, lately at least, the state isn't coming to pick up its prisoners that have been sentenced to state prison. Is there some type of solution that you think you'll reach with the state in 2026 to help Dallas County's jail population?
Well, I hope so. We've tried to reach a resolution with them for many years. Finally, I sued them last year.
I remember that.
It went before the court that Governor Abbott appoints all the people to, and they ruled with Governor Abbott. But I'm still hopeful that we can do this because, look, we cannot try people if they're unfit to stand trial. And so they take up that space. They cost the local taxpayers a lot of money. A lot of those folks end up getting out of jail without any treatment that has got them in a place where they don't reoffend, and that's really a bad thing. So we need the state to take those folks, get them ready for trial, right? And then they can be tried, and if it's a person that needs to be in jail for a long time, that's the only way that's going to happen.
Is there any other way, though, to get the state to pick up its people to at least relieve some beds down there at the jail to help Dallas County taxpayers who are paying for everyone down there?
We continue to work on that, to have those lines of communication, kind of a carrot and stick.
Sure.
As I mentioned, I sued them, but I also am talking to them.
You got to work with them.
Got to work with them, right?
You and I have talked over the years about the need for a new jail. Where does that stand now? Because it would be a huge expense for the county.
Huge expense, but unfortunately you don't really have a choice with jails. Once they finish their useful life, right, then they're really not that useful anymore because the jail standards that we have now in Texas are vastly different than the jail standards in the mid and early 1980s. And so the building that you would build now would be much different with better possible outcomes for our mentally ill and drug addicted members of the population. Also, if you were building a jail now, you probably wouldn't build it right in the middle of the two Calatrava bridges on the postcard front door of Dallas.
So what's the latest with this? Do you expect there to be conversation about this in 2026? And I know you and I talked a couple of years ago about potentially finding somewhere else for the jail. It has to be within, 5 miles of the county courthouse, is that right?
That's right. We'll find another spot, and it won't be between the Calatrava bridges. And we'll build a jail that is better at outcomes because it's the same thing with a mental health facility that we're talking about with UT Southwestern, why I'm promoting that UT Southwestern plan. If you got to pay for good outcomes to get good outcomes at UT Southwestern, you've got to build a jail that can get you good outcomes because that's the best thing for public safety. If all we do is cycle criminals through the jail over and over and over again, and they go back out and commit crimes again, that's not the way to handle public safety.
Do you expect any movement on that in 26, though, on a new jail?
I do. I think we'll have the land bought in 26, and we've got consultants that are looking at how we build this, and we'll be moving towards that. It's a little bit like the convention center. You don't just throw up a jail in 9 months or a year. It's a multi-year, closer to a decade project to get it all done and approved and built.
Where is Dallas County looking for property for a new jail?
Well, I'd love to tell you that, but
you can tell us, Judge.
Land speculators also love to know because for some reason
they want to jack the prices up.
The property values, the prices get jacked up.
There have been ongoing issues with the juvenile jail. We've talked about those here at WFAA. The state inspector general did an audit. Mm-hmm. I believe you've seen that audit. Can you give us an idea of what's in that audit?
Yeah, I can. It found things that we already knew, right? That under the previous director, Mr. Beatty, there were massive abuses in the juvenile department. There were kids that were locked up in detention in solitary confinement far longer than is allowed by law. There were...
But the IG report was done after Beatty left, though, right?
Right, but it was looking at what was going on during that time period. And so the people that we saw in that report who were mentioned in the report as being partially responsible, they're all gone. They've been terminated. And so...
Any surprises in there that you saw?
Unfortunately, not for me. I saw this early on. I put Andy Summerman, I moved the commissioner off and put Andy Summerman on the juvenile board. We ended up getting sued by the juvenile board to try to keep us from getting the records that ultimately we found out were fake records. The OIG report said these have been faked. That's why they wouldn't give them to you. It's because they were faking all the records, or not all of them, but a good chunk of the records. So yeah, under the new guy, Lynn Hadnot. Lynn is doing a tremendous job, and our kids are in a much better position than they would have been if we hadn't gotten in there and broken some eggs and raised some hell.
Since Dallas County, they replaced the director of juvenile detention, we've still heard other stories about children abused, other issues that seem to be persisting there. Have you heard those? And if so, what can the county do? I mean, at the end of the day, the county's the one that pays these folks.
Yeah. So, the juvenile board runs that, and the county has limited oversight of that. But we do write the checks. Now, here's the difference under Lynn Hadnot and under the previous person, Beatty. Under Lynn Hadnot, we did have a situation where some guard injured a child. And that guard got fired, and that guard is getting prosecuted. Okay? So bad things still happen under good leaders, but good leaders take the bull by the horns and make sure that people that act improperly are held accountable and set an example for their team of what good leadership and good juvenile department looks like, and he's doing that. I'm very pleased with Lynn Hadnot, who served with distinction in Collin County and is now serving with distinction in Dallas County.
Have you heard of any underlying issues, though, that still persist, that have come across your desk?
You've still got some people there who not necessarily are bad actors, but they were trained up under the previous administrators, okay? And so it's a little bit like it was when we had to turn around some things at Parkland. You got to hardwire in those new priorities, those new values, and those new rules. And so that is, it takes some time, but we're making good progress. And again, sin happens. And when people do something bad, like hit a child, like this person, I guess I should say allegedly did, although I've seen the tape.
This guard?
Yeah, this guard. Then they're going to be held accountable for that.
What are you most looking forward to in 2026 as county judge?
I'm looking forward to the work that we're doing on affordability for families, the work we're doing on child care, the work we're doing on mental health, especially for our young people, the work we're doing to help people not get evicted in partnership with the Dallas Eviction Advocacy Center, United Way, and Catholic Housing. That's really where the rubber meets the road in economic development. It's not necessarily in giving a tax break to a Fortune 500 company that's moving 20 people in a headquarters here. It's looking at how can we really spend the money to increase the value, keep taxes low, but spend what we have to increase the value of the quality of life of people. And when you keep kids from getting evicted and having to go to a new school where they meet new teachers, have to get a new uniform, all new peers, those kids are going to do better. That mom's going to do better. If we can keep a single mom in her home, it's going to be, if we don't, she'll be a couch surfer and on her way to homelessness. If we do, she won't have that red mark of being evicted on her record of renting, and life of that family is going to be a lot better.
Judge, good to see you again.
Great to see you.